All right. Well, I'm sure we'll have more as the Esports World Cup unfolds, but we should turn now to the very hilarious announcement of Riot accepting betting sponsor.
Just fun. This is what I love. By the way, the topic of this episode is actually thematic, guys. Even though it looks like we're talking about all these disparate things, it is people that have held a position in the past, renouncing that position, not just changing that position, but renouncing that position and then trying to gaslight you that they ever held that position in the first place. And actually, it's good that we're doing this. It's good. It's actually good now. When we denounced it 10 years ago,
what changed? What changed, Richard?
Yeah.
How could I don't understand? How could betting in sports be wrong before, but suddenly right now? What changed? What changed?
By the way, I also do think the framing I want to set for this particular topic is way more sinister than even what categories do they allow and how they change their culture. Because the framing goes like this. I'll use a little political in-joke for people who get the reference. This isn't just like 10% for the big guy. Riot shit is like, how about 90% for the big guy and you can have the 10% at the end? Like, this is FTX deal and crypto all over again, guys. Yep. So, hey, we wouldn't allow something like that in our space. It's shady and unregulated. What's that, TSM? You've done what we should be doing with our league and basically have implicitly almost promised we would do since you're our partners, which is get you massive deals. Oh, you've got a massive deal of your own worth loads of money. That's like a license to print money because, again, it's crypto or gambling. Oh, in this case, you can't have that. You know, why would we let you have in the league? Oh, hey, people that had the deal with TSM, if you just come with us and sponsor us directly, maybe, you know, we let TSM in. Listen, TSM, not on our broadcast, mate. Only will be on our broadcast. That's like, you're such a predatory person. You've literally essentially said, like, I claim prima nocta to fuck your wife before she becomes your wife because I am the fucking Braveheart evil king guy. And on top of that, like, basically, at the end of it all, I won't even let people know that she fucks you. You have to fuck her in secret, mate. But everyone has to know I did it in front of the whole crowd. Like, that's the most sinister part because they're doing it again with this betting thing, guys. If you read between the lines of what it means that you have to get the company vetted, and that's going to go through this third-party company, which also seemingly is invested in an own
Merrill Enterprises.
It just essentially becomes a thing where it's like, cause a team, in this case, I assume some of the fucking LCS order type people have gone out there, they could get a betting deal. Now you have to just help Riot get their fucking beak wet as well. Like, I find that part the most sinister part because it's not just that these fuckers make seemingly infinite money off esports and then turn around and pretend like, we're only making like a little bit. Here's your $3 million everyone, or $1 million or whatever it is revenue. Like, they also now are just doing some like sinister shit where they're like gatekeeping your sponsorship that you did everything for. Remember, they don't help you with this. It's not like they go to the meeting with you and go, hey, was it Riot? No, you do the whole legwork, and after that you have to turn around and give it to Riot. Like, I find that this makes it feel, by the way, like you're not allowing us to join your table. We bring the table and the food and the entertainment, and then you just go, I take it first though. Like, it's fucking greedy.
We'll get to that because the statement they released is obviously full of lies because it's Riot. But we do need to set the table a little bit first on this discussion by talking about the people who are involved. And the most important entity that you may not know exists if you're not part of this industry is a company called Grid, Grid. And Grid, you have never heard of them.
Is sort of AIDS in some way. Bit of an edgy joke there, whatever, look it up.
So anyway, Grid is
pretty good.
It is pervasive in the industry, and it's not just dealing with Riot games, so people know. It is a company that does basically API access and odds for the entire esports industry. So, for example, when I was working for Flashpoint, we worked with Grid, and all of the Counter-Strike operators do. Basically, everybody in esports works with Grid. And you may be wondering,
that's weird. It turns out that's for another episode.
Yeah, possibly.
Really, they really do work with everyone. They do it all.
So you might be asking, like, why is this Grid company so important to the betting ecosystem? And the issue is this, is that they are the bridge between the games that are being played and the betting platforms. Okay. So what happens is they have deals with tournament operators, with developers. And what happens is those games, they have access to the API of the tournament servers on which those games are being played. And that information is being streamed in real time to them. Why do they need this? Well, because if they don't have instantaneous data to alter the odds on their website, what can happen is, let's say there's a broadcast delay. Okay, there's a broadcast delay, and it's a 3-minute broadcast delay, and not that I've done this because I couldn't because we used Grid, but I am sitting at the event. I'm on the production staff. I'm a member of the talent. I'm a tournament operator, right? I'm a referee. I can, even if I'm in the arena for an event, I can see what's going on ahead of what's going on the stream. So in theory, I could be sitting on my phone in an arena watching an event, making bets on information that they do not have yet. So it is absolutely critical to the ecosystem of esports betting that Grid has, or other companies like this, have the information coming in real time from the tournament servers in order to ensure that the betting lines are honest and protected. Now, obviously, the hilarious part of this, you'll notice, is you'll say to yourselves, well, that's weird. Before this, I saw all of this betting on these websites for League of Legends and Valorant. If Riot doesn't allow betting, how is Grid getting access to this information? And the truth is about Riot Games is that they have been supplying this to the betting sites via Grid for years and pretending that they don't support betting. They have enabled the betting. In fact, betting would not exist on Riot Games titles unless they allowed Grid to use their API to send it to the betting platforms.
Remember, we don't even have replays in League, bro. This would be the easiest game to shut down the access of anything, of course.
Oh, no, they control, absolutely, who has access. It's not an open API, especially to their tournament servers. And you have to remember that the tournament realms in these games are different than the live realms. So even if you had access to the live realm APIs, you wouldn't have access to where the professional games are being played. So this is locked down access, and not very many people have access to the tournament servers, and Grid is one of those companies. And Riot has obviously supported this throughout the entire time that Grid has been active within League of Legends and Valorant. So it is a straight up lie by Riot that they had nothing to do with betting. They had everything to do with betting. They created the betting market in the first place because without this access, it simply could not exist.
Yep. I mean, look, it's not just Riot that create all these issues around betting. We've said this as well. You can stop match fixing tomorrow by simply not having garbage tournaments on. You don't offer the action, like you say. You can revoke API access. There's no need for match fixing to be this runaway problem. There's no need for esports betting to be this sprawling nightmare that it is. It could just be a few prestige events put on a betting website.
Yeah, what Richard's saying is they could say that it is prohibited from providing live information, live data via the API for tier 2.
They
could do that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you could selectively do it for events. Like nobody. Maybe you can't bet on LCS, but maybe you can on Worlds or whatever it might be, or vice versa. They will not. No one's going to take a punt if that live betting information is protected, if they're not getting that data, because obviously it means people can get fucking absolutely bilked. You can get got, as a bookmaker, if people know something's coming down the pipeline and they can bet accordingly on a spot bet or whatever it might be, you're going to lose every time. So they're not going to have that there. But I mean, look, the thing that is offensive about what Riot are doing here is the fact for years, right, before we were in bed with Saudi, we were in bed with the betting sites, and Riot kept telling you dirty slut, in bed with them, How dare you? How dare you? Never us. You can't even show, even though they sponsor your business and your business participates in our business and actually promotes our business by virtue of it being there, we are not going to allow you to show those sponsors. We're not going to allow you to take those sponsors. And then it was like, oh, right, well, actually, that's going to reduce the deals overall in the industry because Riot Games is the biggest show in town, and that's where people want to be advertised. That's where you're going to have the most impact from that kind of sponsorship deal. But then they got in bed with crypto. They're like, okay, look, right, we won't do betting, right? We understand that's problematic. You know, people can get addicted. So why don't we do this completely unregulated fucking fruit machine of a stock market, right? And we'll do that, and then we'll have crypto where everyone's getting rug pulled. There's all scams everywhere. You know,
very different from betting, by the way.
Yeah, completely.
Very
yeah, you're definitely not gambling when you buy a shit coin hoping it's going to go up so you can sell it to a fucking moron. Yeah, there's no gambling involved in that. It's all skill. You're just playing the market, aren't you? And so then it was crypto, and then. Like, how many times have we told you sluts to stop sleeping around with these people? Like, you know, no, but Riot, this is a bit of a strange framing, isn't it? No. We would never get in bed with them. Can we have their number? All right, yeah, okay. And so they ended up with the FTX exchange. By the way, hilarious that the one they just so happened to choose is at the heart of some insane political scandal and also a giant fucking Ponzi scheme. Well done. The legendary fucking Riot vetting process.
Well, but that's because, I mean, they chose the one that paid them the most money because that one was because Sam Bankman-Fried was a League of Legends LCS TSM fan. And also because, as we now know, he was paying everybody absurd amounts of money for sponsorship because he was a moron.
Well,
so
it's not even
they took the biggest deal.
The beauty of
but it was because he was running a bad business.
The beauty of it is, obviously, you can pay everyone loads of money because he knows none of it's real to begin with. Like, it's like, you know, he knows that, right? Like, I mean, he was just some bronze scrub ripped to the tits on Adderall, and somehow he finessed the Riot executive body. Like, go figure, right? It's mental, isn't it? But
that was like his version of like buying the island of Manhattan for a few beats.
Yeah, exactly.
You dickhead.
No, like,
I've got the whole thing now. It's brilliant.
It is an apt comparison to say that the Riot executive body basically got asked, "Do you want to buy the Golden Gate Bridge?" And they said, "Yes, we'd love to own that bridge." And they did, and they bought it, and they thought they owned it. I mean, if you know anything about it, and listen, I'm certainly no expert in the crypto space. Like, I knew it was garbage right from the start. I've said, if you ever think you're going to get some off the grid alternative to fiat currency that the governments of the world are going to allow you to indulge in without them getting their fucking piece, you're mentally ill and you don't interface with reality in any way, shape or form. And I've been vindicated. I had all the crypto bros. You're a moron, old man. You don't even know what you're talking about. I made £50 on fart coins, so I know how global economies work. You fucking idiot. I had to deal with that for years, right? Because I just said crypto's bollocks. I don't want a crypto sponsor. I don't want to do this. I'm never going to do that, right? That was my opinion on it, right? Obviously, people have different opinions. I know many people who got rich on crypto and kind of, they told me to get into it at the time they were getting rich, and I look at them now and they're crypto millionaires and I'm going, probably should have done that. Probably should have just, again, swallow the opinion, Richard. Take the money, don't take being right. But I feel vindicated over time. So, anyway, point being,
you can never truly calculate the
money is temporary. How many millions
being right, especially against the crowd.
It's true.
Some would say priceless.
I may not always be a millionaire, but I will always be fucking right.
If you ever want a certain sponsor out there to make the most straight fire, something's a priceless advert ever, do the Four Horsemen one. You could have had millions from Saudi. You could have, but sometimes being right is priceless, and then it's just us and
yeah, it's just going to be me on a fucking street corner, brown bag in a bottle of fucking methylated spirits. Like, it's just going to be...
Anyway, about night moves.
Yeah, and it's just going to be on a T-shirt that says, "At least I was right." Wrecked with cirrhosis and don't have a house at the age of 60. But anyway, the point being, right, like that when everybody got into bed with crypto because they couldn't get into bed with gambling at Riot's behest, even though they were in bed with gambling anyway, they just weren't showing them on the League of Legends jerseys.
And they were making money from gambling because the way it worked, to be clear, is Grid pay Riot for access, gambling company pay Grid for API information. And so basically Grid was just a vehicle for moving money from gambling companies through a separate corporate entity straight into Riot.
Yeah. And which is why the whole stance that they've took is so ridiculous, because of, you essentially told your business partners they can't eat if you don't like the food, which is mental. Like, it's just a mental thing to do, right? So then they did it with crypto, but then they went one further and essentially stole TSM's sponsor after initially saying you can't have that sponsor. Then they announced their deal, and then so it was hilarious when that fell down. NFTs, all of that, and now they've totally walked back their stance on gambling and gambling sponsorships, and we're probably going to see. I don't think we're that far away from seeing segments built into the broadcast now, like you used to get with fucking Jimmy the Greek or whatever. We're going to be talking about, the odds matrix and who's going to win, and like it's normalized on a CS broadcast. You just have the odds pop up,
and every sports broadcast ever.
Yeah.
I mean,
by the way, isn't that also another thing, Monty? I don't know. You're someone who's actually, again, lived in the league ecosystem, but also had experience of other ones. Isn't that another thing, by the way? I could have added that to my joke of the things that the fans can't understand. Bloody hell, mate. We're still doing the thing in 2020. But gambling, isn't that like morally wrong? That's the discourse in 2025 esports. Like, have you guys followed any other sport? Like, what are we doing?
Unfortunately, the average fan does believe that there is some sort of moral equivalence between the Saudi Arabian state beating a confession out of a gay person than executing them without a fair trial, and me getting addicted to gambling and smashing my kid's piggy bank and putting it all on fucking black or red or whatever,
It's mad,
look, and also, like, personally, I have no issues with betting in general. But also, like, the alternative, it's like if you make alcohol illegal, guys. So the problem with prohibition in the United States is that alcohol is something that can be made in an undetectable fashion in a bathtub. And so what happens is you can't stop people. It doesn't take an advanced laboratory. It doesn't take insane amounts of electricity or an obvious like farm of stuff outside. It is literally an undetectable thing that anybody can make. And so what happens when you make it illegal? Right in the toilet.
Yeah, that's right. Mate, until you've had my toilet wine, don't you fucking you hush your mouth. So.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.